Hello, friends and family. Today, I would like to talk about what makes a job great. What do we look for when we search for jobs? What do we do when we stay at jobs? Why do we leave jobs? What are things that matter for jobs in 2021? Doesn't have to stay on that topic. It's just something that has been hitting my mind recently a lot. Thinking about my job, my career path, hearing about people's different career paths, and learning about what they've been thinking about as they progress through their career and as they jump to other careers. What are the things that actually matter for us? Why do we leave jobs? And this is more of an open forum. I don't have a set thesis set on this. The thumbnail is in no way, shape, or form supposed to hint at what I think is a priority. Obviously, things like compensation, perks, benefits, I think are more tangible. There's numerical value to them, and at the end of the day, why are people doing jobs? It's to, I think, majority make an income, but to find some level of fulfillment. Human beings enjoy organization. Obviously, for those of you guys that have followed me for a while, you know that my overall thesis on jobs is that you can't necessarily get full fulfillment out of jobs, but I think it's definitely possible and somewhat inherent for human beings for us to find the need to join an organization, traverse through that organization, and make progress within an organization. And I think jobs provide that for us. But you'd be lying if you said the only reason you join a job / get a job is because you want something, you want fulfillment out of it. I would argue if we surveyed most of the world and we told them, would you rather have a job or be given $1 billion? They'll probably be given $1 billion. I will say there are jobs that I think people would pursue if money wasn't a concern. So, for example, if money wasn't a concern for me, I think given my personality and what I've enjoyed in life, I would be a waiter. I've always told people that. I think high intensity food, meeting new people all the time is basically fully aligned with what I'm into. But essentially, I think it's definitely person to person, and it depends. Sorry, I've been ignoring the comments. Yo, nice cut. Yeah, I did get a haircut recently. This is my last haircut in Chicago, and last haircut that my family has no say over. So I kind of just did whatever I wanted and got the sides cut short. Do you need a master's in business or bachelor enough? Sandra, do you mean for banking specifically, I would assume? You don't. A bachelor is enough if you want to become an analyst. No question about being a college senior. Your IB videos are absolutely electric. Cole McGuire, thanks. I hope I am being absolutely electrifyingly thankful. Working a job consumes like 40 hours a week. I feel like finding the right culture will be somewhat important. Yeah, I think if you think about it, I've heard the statistic that you probably spend more time with your coworkers than you spend with your family. So clearly it's important to be at a job place that culture matters. And I do want to shy away from this idea that jobs at the end of the day mean nothing. It's just a means of getting money. We are part of an organization, part of a team, part of a company for a reason. And it obviously helps if that company is bearable or much better yet, good for you and something that you somewhat or genuinely enjoy. I will say I think there's a very select few number of people in the world that wholeheartedly enjoy their jobs, as in they would rather do it than rather not if they had the choice of getting the same amount of money by doing it and getting the same money by not. I think those people are a select few and a very special few. And as I mentioned on my blog, I think you need to have your interests, your talents, and a source of money align in a perfect Venn diagram for that to occur. There is a second tier of people, I think, that are far optimistic than I am, and actually they find fulfillment in their jobs, even though it might not be the perfect job. They've either settled or they've found something that they're willing to compromise with, and they're relatively happy at. I think that's probably a cross-section of different varying levels of ambition, and being able to find what you're good at, and what you like. I think that's relatively hard to do at my age, especially because right out of undergrad, one, you don't have much exposure to various jobs. You're kind of stuck, at least in the beginning, of what you do in the beginning. And that is probably a result of where you went to school and what your school told you to do. I think a life goal of mine is to find a career slash path that I really thrive in and I like, and I have yet to find that. And I really hope I can find that someday and be comfortable in that. And I don't want to I don't want to fall in there just because I am old or I have no choice. That's my biggest fear in life, that I will ultimately settle for an end job just because I'm not able to do anything else. Sorry, distracted by text. So many questions that I'm missing out on. One of the things of being a waiter would be nice if money was nowhere an issue. The reason I say waiter is because I've been a waiter before for a summer and I absolutely loved it. I will say, I think, granted, I did do it when money wasn't a factor for me. I did it more for the experience, and I did it just to have a job and to have a resume line in my set of experiences. I love the fact that you're constantly catering to new people. It's fast paced and it's high intensity, and you're done with the job after the set amount of hours. There's not that many jobs like that anymore in the world. I'm actually looking to be a part-time waiter when I go back home, just for the extra money and to pursue what I actually like to do. Can you speak on PWM at the BB at all? Jeffrey, unfortunately, I can't just because I don't know much about it. I have friends in PWM, but I don't have any personal experience, especially at the BB level. Do the perks of banking compare to tech, like free food, transportation? So banking is obviously great perks. They've been upping their perks, I've heard. You get meals every day, salary's great, bonus, full medical coverage on most banks, amazing after-hour stuff. They have sometimes clients give you cool stuff, the prestige. Tech, I would say, balances that probably with some level of work-life balance. The perks are great, especially if you're at a well-established tech firm. The occasional cereal bar or snack bar at the company. Now that everyone's worked from home, I think they're feeling less of that, but there are definitely tech perks. I think there are different kinds of perks. I couldn't say one is better than the other. How can I find out about a company's work culture from simply having an interview with them? That's a great question. I think this is perhaps the hardest part of job searching is how do you know that the culture that they're speaking of is actually real? I know many people that have been tricked into that. I think obviously every company's going to say they have good culture. I think right now there's a bigger online platform. There's things like Blind, I think, or Bind, some app that is on an anonymous basis that people talk about culture openly. Glassdoor is an resource, Reddit, sometimes a lot of stuff, Wall Street Oasis if you're into banking. I will say all of those I think you take with a grain of salt, given that you either have people that are overly negative who are more encouraged to post on those sites. It's kind of like food reviews. Who leaves food reviews? People that are disgusted by the experience, or people that are in love with that experience biasly or need to excuse the fact that they are stuck in a place they don't like by saying that it's good. I've seen all cases. What do you think of the hotel business? Hotel business is hard. I think it's definitely making a comeback because, as expected, COVID is gone now and people are traveling by the masses, but it requires a lot of real estate acquisition, I would assume. There's a lot of consolidation. There's a reason why the Vegas Strip is owned basically by two entities. It's a hard business to be in. Hi, Brian. Just did an interview at the UBS Tower in Chicago for consulting. Love the videos and wish me luck. They're letting me know if I'm in by the end of the week. Oh, that's great to hear. I hope things work out. What to do after emails do not get answered after 2 follow-ups? Just give up on life. Just kidding. I mean, at that point, there's nothing to lose, right? Just keep following up, but they'll probably not respond either because they're overly busy or they're just ignoring you, but probably the first. Would you say Charlotte is an upcoming financial center? Yeah, I mean, Charlotte's already an upcoming financial center. Wells Fargo is headquartered there. A lot of my friends who are in finance, deep finance, are in Charlotte. A lot of my Southern friends that enjoy the Southern experience. How good are you at modeling, and what are some of the more important models to know? I'm pretty good at modeling. I wouldn't say I have the best proportions, but I think I dress pretty well, and I've been working out recently. More important models to know. I think my favorite model is probably like Bar Raffaele or Rosie Huntington-Wheatley. Culture is definitely something that I consider when thinking of getting a job for the future. With that said, I do want to make enough money to travel and live comfortably. Would you sacrifice culture for money? I think there's definitely a point, a threshold where that crosses. I would argue if I offered any of you guys $1 million for a year for crappy culture, you would take it. Hey Brian, how are you? I'm doing decently well. Samuel Choi, way back at you. Hey, Brian, I'm going back to school to get a master's in accounting at UVA. Wow. Is IB possibly getting an MS from a target school like that? Did my undergrad at Virginia Tech in finance, by the way? Probably not. I don't think master's in accounting is a direct path to banking. An MBA is much more traditional trajectory into banking. I will say that I've seen some posts, job postings that are looking for Big Four deal advisory, but even then, it's not about masters in accounting. What's your biggest goal for this year? So I actually have a list of goals that I hope to achieve um, by the end of the year, and I've achieved some of them already. But aside from the personal ones that I don't want to share, I wanted to read 5 books, which I've already done. I want to get rid of Snapchat, which I have not touched since January 1st of 2021. I want to find a new job, which I have found. I want to maintain my weight of 165 pounds, which I have done so far. I want to finish reading the Bible for the first time, which I am on track for. I'm trying to not watch YouTube at night, which I am doing. I'm trying to drink less than twice a month, which I failed at. I'm trying to become more fluent in Spanish, which I am not keeping up with. And my personal goal, is to hit 50,000 combined YouTube subscribers across my 2 channels, but that's probably a hard one to do. Love the vids, man. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. What is a better career, hedge fund or private equity? I think private equity is a bit more stability and more relationship based, where hedge fund is far more skill based and it's more cutthroat. But I would assume you can make more short term money in the hedge fund, and private equity, you might blow up and might never make as much money as you did in banking if your fund doesn't do well as a whole. Are you in a strategy role? Yep, I work in strategy / product at my startup. Did you find that through your headhunter or on your own? They found me. What if I can't make it to IB? Breeder Talkers, that's not the end of the world. There's plenty of other jobs. What kind of finance roles can you get in tech companies? You could probably do like strategic finance or corporate development. I'm trying to get into golf. What did you do to get started, Devin? That's a great question. And that scares me because I haven't done golf in a while. And I'm about to go back to California, probably golf every week. And I'm going to be terrible at it. I would take lessons. I don't think golf is something that you can learn on your own. I see plenty of like dads take their kids to the golf range and all their golf shots are horrible. Why get rid of Snapchat? Do you find social media to be toxic, or are you trying to procrastinate less? It's not about procrastination. I just thought that I was too old for Snapchat. Snapchat felt like a young person thing to do. It's weird if you really think about it, to send people a picture of yourself or what you're doing live. You're not really creating a feed. I think a lot of Snapchat is more about you act like you're mass sending things, but it's actually intended for one person, and just texting them directly is awkward. So you use it as an excuse to get to someone. Who would win a 3-way space version of Battleship? Elon, Bezos, or Branson? I guess as of now, Bezos, but I think I would bet on Elon in the long run. Branson is late to the game, in my opinion. Thanks for all your great tips and videos. You're welcome. Do you have any advice from going from DCM to intern, co-op, up student, to pivoting to more general roles in IB upon graduation? Victoria, not to be a mean person, but I don't, because I know nothing about DCM. I would argue that pivoting from anything requires a networking and better exposure to these general rules you speak of, but I know nothing specifically from DCM to the other. How are your hours now? They're great. Good enough that I can be on a live stream at 9 p.m. Central. Better than banking for sure. How's the comp like at your current job versus IB? I know money ain't everything, but IB student loan need to be paid. Pays good. There's like stock options. Pay is good. What is a list of your go-to questions for coffee chats? I think I'm at a point now where I've built enough of my career and built enough of a repertoire, and I understand what people are doing at jobs, that I don't really do like a go-to list of questions, and I more think about what they have been up to. I listen to them first and then go off of that. It's more spontaneous. But I'm always more curious about what they literally do. That's something that I'm like passionate about, what jobs literally do, as opposed to the fancy words that describe them. Is getting to middle office coverage groups in IB? Oh, sorry. I read two questions at the same time. Is getting into middle office considered not too difficult? I don't know what middle office means. I'm sorry. I don't know any of these terms. What do you think about real estate coverage groups in IB? I know nothing about them. I'm sorry, guys. Most of my answers to these specific questions are I don't know much. Real estate is hot, but it's also, I think, a gamble, as with all finance. Thoughts on working in alternative data industry, if you're familiar. Adam, I am not familiar in the alternative data industry. Best paid job in financial design. If we're talking about literal money, like ceiling, probably quant. How did you think through foregoing your second year bonus when you left banking early? I guess the startup didn't comp you for it. That's a good question. I just did it because I thought it was worth it. And yeah, there was not really much thought into it. I think I was looking at it more in the long term, and the short term cash was not that big to me at the time. How many interviewers do you have per interview during a super day? Typically 6. That's what I've been used to. Thoughts on interning at a boutique family hedge fund with 10 people? If you have the chance, why not? I think interning at hedge funds sounds fun. I'm just curious, is your startup backed by VCs? We're in stealth mode, so I can't say. If you could go back in time and talk to the freshman in college version of yourself, what would you tell yourself? That's a great question, Devin. I'm going to make a video on that. What would I tell my freshman self? I would say think much harder about jobs. Look into a variety of jobs. I would say enjoy college infinitely more. I would say go out every day. I would say use weekends to travel while time is yours. I would say don't think about grades too much. I would say explore campus a lot more. I would say use professors to your advantage and get the resources out of them because they're great resources and you're never going to have them again. Interviewing for JP for PWM in August. Interviewing currently with hedge fund in New York City with 10 billion AUM. What do you think I should pick if it comes down to it? Probably hedge fund. I think PWM is, relatively speaking, on the lower rung of finance. How important are spring insight weeks and how hard is it to land an IBB summer analyst role? I know nothing about insight weeks, but it seems like everyone and their mother has gone to an insight week, which makes me think that it's not that prestigious or hard to get into. BB summer analyst role is very hard to get into. I think Goldman Sachs acceptance rate is 0.5%. When someone starts a new job in consulting banking, would you recommend trying to stand out in terms of work ethic? Overly communicative, tell them that you're down for anything, raise your hand, tell people that you're doing work. Favorite country to travel to? Favorite country that I have traveled to is probably Vietnam or Japan. What skills do you need as a freshman to secure an internship? Any internship, are you asking? Just competency and hard work. I feel like those two are the things that you need for any job, any internship. Appreciate you. How hard is it to get into quant finance, and how does it compare to regular IB in terms of hours? What you're doing? Is it less networking based? Yeah, it's far less networking based, and it's almost purely skill. It's very hard to get into because you have to be smart. Whereas IB, I don't think you have to be smart. You just have to be hardworking and networking. Tier 2 strategy consulting versus low tier IB, BBIB. No idea. I think I'm going to start being selective a bit more and not going to really answer questions that are overly specific, like this versus this, or I have these qualifications. Can I make it for this? Because, guys, as I always say on these lives, all of that is very subjective, very case by case. And I know that some of you are looking for affirmation, and it's more like, please tell me that this is going to be okay. But it's so case by case, and there's no right answer. I'm sorry to say. That's the hard truth. What's your real passion? I'd say my real passion is people. If I really had to break down to it, I just genuinely love people as a whole. I obviously love my people more than other people, but I think humanity and people are fascinating and what I'm passionate about. Favorite fiction book? Ready Player One or Harry Potter series by far. What's the typical career path for people that quit IB? I would largely break them into either buy side, so they go into hedge funds, private equity, or venture capital, or they go into inside of a company and work the finance role in that. So they do corp dev or strategic finance, or they do something really abstract and maybe jump into a startup and do more of a generic business role, or completely make a switch and become a chef or something. Would you say banking helped you get the job you have now? Yeah, I mean, they specifically reached out to me because I think that I had banking in my resume. What else should I be doing as an incoming freshman other than spring weeks? Look into jobs. Think about what you really want to do and make sure that the jobs that you're looking at are things that you actually want to do. You have a vid that says, stop asking these questions. I do. I really do. I would, my most recent vid maybe, or my second to most vid says, please stop asking about, am I too late or is this possible? Solely because I'm not trying to be mean, because I don't have the answer. Every person is just so different. I think I'm made to believe that a lot of those questions are more just asking for like a yes, but like I can't give you a yes because I don't. It's so specific to each person. Can you talk about catalyst and economic arbitrage? Whoa, there are three big words I don't know much about. Do you need to master financial modeling on Excel for freshman finance internship? No, I think most of it is taught. Um, Most of it is taught on the job. I don't think any Excel mastery needs to happen before you get into a job. You need reps during work. Um, so I would not have that be a barrier to entry. It's good to have Excel skills. I think it's good to practice. It's good to let people know that you're a professional in Excel, as 99% of resumes say. But I don't think that's going to ever stop you. I've never had a job at the forefront say, "Please do this in Excel," and then if you fail, you're not going to get the job. Boxers or briefs? I'm wearing boxers right now. I haven't worn briefs since I was a kid. I think boxers are just more comfortable. Starting at KPMG tomorrow. Any tips for coffee chats to move office locations? Oh, I would establish that like in the beginning and say like, hey, I'm like happy to be where I am right now, but in the long run or in the short run, I would like to be in the blank group, blank location. I think having that straightforward would be the best, just because I think it's hard to establish that later on, and sometimes companies can cuck you and say you never mentioned that, and then have you be stuck in the place that you don't want to be at. So make sure you do that. Can I work in IB if I'm fat? Jeez, I hope that's a not serious question. That's your weight does not matter for investment banking. If anything, I think a lot of bankers become fat because they have poor work-life balances and they eat a lot. Have you considered working in Korea? I have. I would love to have a chance to work in my home country at some point. I just don't know if the opportunity is there. But yeah. I would love, if anyone offers me a job in Korea, I would take it. But I think there's obviously a lot of logistical issues and things like that. What can I do to prepare for IB in high school and spice up the resume? There's nothing you can do in high school to spice up your IB resume. I'm sorry, Dragon's Lord 69. I have nightmares about my financial statement not tying out to any therapy. Yes. RPI is easiest to get into, probably ranked number 6 in the country. MIT best. If I don't like my group in the summer, do I put it up with 2 years and learn what I can, or do internal mobility right away? I would try to do it right away. I think it's harder to do it as you're more tenured. Catalyst in terms of what happens in the world that may affect the price of a public company severely. What would you say classifies as best to seek? Oh, okay. Well, right now it's obviously anything related to Delta variant, anything that Elon Musk says, both of which I think are more about flair rather than truth. And I think a lot of people are making money off of it. A lot of people are benefiting from this. I think everyone has an incentive to blow up news. So yeah, I think it's press and their ability to make the Wall Street bets people do whatever they desire. In your opinion, how much do you weigh connections, networks, and landing a job versus being a qualified candidate? I think. Let me put it this way. I think it's a lot, quote unquote, easier to get in the job process through connections and networks. But after you get in, it's all about the being a qualified candidate, which is a dual-edged sword. How many suits do you need to buy for IB? I only had 2, and then I had 5 different pairs of business casual, so button-up and slack outfits. Do you have any finance-related jobs that let you travel? I traveled a lot in banking when it was a thing. Next erasure officer of career coming up. Oh, treasurer officer? Is that what you meant to say? Yeah, unless you meant eraser. What do you think of commodity trading? Like trading houses like Mercurial or Vittle? I know nothing about that, Keon. So what are your best to see in terms of theory of economics? I know nothing about economics. What do you think about finance foundation programs? I don't know what that is. Sorry, guys. I know I'm saying a lot of I don't know what that is, but I'm just being genuine. I really don't know any of these things. I'm not an expert in everything. Thanks, Lowell. Mobility deadlines tomorrow for summers, letting you make my life decision for me. Just go for it. Yeah, why not? Why not request it now when you can? Should people be more educated about what actually matters in terms of investing? Yes and no, in the sense that right now, I almost feel like what actually matters has become the flare and the press. Like that actually does sway stocks more than fundamentals. So perhaps what actually matters no longer actually matters, and what used to not actually matter does actually matter. Does that make sense? Bezos or Branson? Bezos. Hey, Brian, what's up? I'm from Brazil, and I'm going to be in Miami for 2 months with a tourist visa. What do you recommend to make an extra money or get a non-paid finance intern experience? Igor, I don't want to give this advice just because I know nothing about tourist visa stuff, so I will hold off. But boa noite and obrigado. How many hours in a day were you actually working in banking? Was I literally working, like working literally on things? Probably like maybe 12 hours, 13 hours. Tips for lateraling from strategy consulting to banking at the associate level without MBA. I think that is very, very hard unless you study financial modeling on the side. You can make a case and you can network your way into it. I also think that the retention rate for banking is at an all-time low right now. So you definitely probably have the best chance you have yet in American history, but you definitely need the ability to model financially. What kind of food did you eat in IB? Mainly fast food. Just because I had the $30 business expense that I could do every day. I think it's $50 now. I actually did a wide variety of things. It wasn't just fast food. I ate things that I wouldn't eat usually with my own money. I ate good during IB. I get exactly what you're saying. Move with the times, basically don't get left behind. Yeah. Muito sucesso para você. Obrigado. Hey, Brian, reaching out to ask how easy it would be to lateral from stat valuation and what time frame I should aim for. Hey, Josh, I know nothing about stat valuation and I don't know, so I can't speak on it. Would you recommend joining an investment bank after an MBA? Yeah, a lot of people do that. I think the cool thing to do right now is consulting. I was at this Kellogg event and it seemed like everyone, like 80% of the people there, were thinking about going to consulting after banking or after MBA, just because I think banking has lost its popularity. But things go in waves, right? I'm sure the banking wave will come in a couple of years. Just right now, there's just so much talk about work-life balance, and even the comp raises recently. I know the analysts have gone up from 85 to 100K at the base, and even then, I think the retention and people going into banking is going to be at an all-time low. Would you ever start your own business? Yeah, I'm actively looking at ways to do so. Me and my friends, a couple of friends, are looking into starting something, but I'm always actively thinking about what I can start on my own, because ultimately I do want to run my own thing. And what did someone say on my video recently? That it would be like a wage slave or something. I would love to build my own thing, but I know that it requires a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of patience, a lot of collaboration. So I know I'm not there yet, but I'm looking for it. I'm working towards it. How often do you keep in touch with your parents? As I assume you moved to a different state for work. So I'm in Chicago right now, so Illinois. I am moving back to California, where my parents are, in 2 weeks. But my family and I are tight. We have a group chat. I talk to them probably every day. Do you think automation will come in our generation? I mean, automation is already in our generation, burrito tacos. I don't know if you mean anything specific, but automation is around us all the time. And I think it's rapidly getting there. And as the country continues to raise minimum wages and make it harder for businesses to hire people, and as people are less and less inclined to work currently, as you can see with the restaurant industries suffering to find people, I think automation will just naturally become even more populous. Sorry, important text really quick. I guess a follow-up question is, what time frame should I aim for before trying to lateral the BB banks like Citi, JPM? One, at least 6 months experience. 6 months doesn't look good. I would say at least a year to two if you can do it. Have you done DCF models? Yes. If so, what are some tips for a rising sophomore who's trying to rise with little to no prior knowledge? I mean, DCF model is like the most basic thing in banking. There's tips and tricks and literally how to do it all over the webs for free. Sorry, one of my friends is texting me about coming to Chicago for a visit. Everyone's coming to Chicago. I have 2 weeks here, so I'm trying to make full use of the next 2 weeks and see everyone I can and enjoy Chicago to the fullest. I vlog on my Korean channel about it if you guys want to check it out. How AI can help small businesses, or on HBR, how can we cut costs? Overall, I was just thinking in terms of like ordering platforms and maybe eventually even cooking. I also have access to Bloomberg. That's great. Hello, Mr. John. Hello, Jimmy Mac Johnson III. Everyone, please go check out Jimmy's channel at Try Hard Videos or something. He does movie reviews. Any ideas on moving from consumer banking to investment banking? I would recommend an MBA. What percentage of your salary do you manage to save after taxes? I save a lot. Ever since I started work, I've saved anywhere from 60 to 80%. How many monitors do you need to show you're the most powerful analyst? You need at least 30 on your screen, and they all need to be stacked on top of each other. Tips to learn about financial modeling, go online. There's so many free resources. Chris, you have the terminal. How do you become an iBanking god? Wrong person to ask. I have not become. What is the most recent movie you watched? I watched Talladega Nights, or Talladega something, the Ricky Bobby, Will Ferrell, John McKay racing movie. So funny. Can you afford decent living by yourself without splitting rent with others in New York City while also paying off student loans only on the base salary without bonuses? I want to use my bonus for my loans. If you're talking about banking salary, you might barely make it up. I've seen people do it, but you might have to live in kind of a shack. Where do you ideally see yourself in 30 years? Or 10 years. So in 10 years, I'm going to be 33. Hopefully I'm married. Hopefully I have a kid or two. Hopefully I like my job fully. And hopefully I am owner of a house. I'm in New York City right now. Which different places I should go? Can I make a tour in a bank here? I don't think they're going to let you randomly tour a bank, if that's what you're saying. But New York City's fun. There's so much to do in New York City. And I think it's pretty representative of a American city. What's your take on how to be useful as CFAs in finance? I've seen people have it, but I think they take it more as a additional platter rather than a requirement. I've never seen it get someone a job. Like, it's never like, oh, you have a CFA, we're going to hire you. But it's more about people that have been in finance for a long time. They're like, I might as well get it. Excuse me. Do you think commission-based sales jobs can be better than the typical college career route? In some ways, yeah. I mean, I think if you know for a fact you can be a good sales guy, I don't think sales needs a college career. College might provide a way to have you interact with more of a diverse array of people and give you the right tools to become more eloquent and be more social that I think is useful in sales. But I've seen plenty of people without a college degree that do tremendous job in sales. Sales is an interesting path that I wish I almost did right out of college. Maybe I'll go into sales. Sales sounds fun. I watched Talladega Nights last night. Well, yeah, the movie is so funny. Netflix recommended it to me. I'm sure Netflix recommended it to you, but I love mindless movies like that. How hard is it to get into banks like Goldman and JPM right out of college, assuming you go to a target school? It's hard in the sense that everyone and their mom is probably competing if you go to a target school, because at a target school, everyone's trying to go for banking, but it's a lot easier comparatively if you go to a non-target school, because at a non-target school, you might not have the option to go to begin with, if that makes sense. For Dragon is Lord, you should look into, listen to T Hair Swag. Would it be possible to tour the IB office if coffee check goes well? With COVID stuff, maybe not, but I mean, I'm sure you can finesse your way. And if coffee check goes well, and just be like, hey, can you give me a tour really quick? That'd be kind of weird, though. I don't know what the tour will accomplish besides you just being like, whoa, this is sick, and seeing people work at their desks. Or the office is probably half empty. How can I get into Goldman JPM coming from a non-target, but with a 4.0 GPA and MS Finance? Nighthawk Black, I'm sorry. That's just so awfully specific. You can get it in numerous different ways. I mean, networking is a start, but as I said before, I'm trying to shy away from these. I have this level of stats at this school with this thing. Can I get in? I'm not sure. It's just very, very, very case by case. Um, it's really just depends on who you are, the timing. I'm sorry to say. Do you know anything about the work-life balance in the commercial real estate industry? I do not. I actually don't know anyone in the commercial real estate industry personally. If you're a high schooler, please reconsider IB. If you're a high schooler, you should not be thinking about investment banking. If you're a high schooler, go enjoy life. COVID is kind of gone. Go ask girls on dates and stuff. Do you ever think about uploading a day in the life video? I did upload a day in the life video, kind of a joke. I might go to like vlogging once I get settled into California and I have more of a footing. I'm considering vlogging in general. I vlog on my Korean channel for fun and more of a test slash practice of my editing skills. But a day in the life, maybe. My day in the life is not very interesting. Currently entering an MMIB SF, probably spending the night in the office. Sorry, my dude. I know your experience as an IB, but anything you can speak on private wealth? Nothing. I know nothing about PWM. You ever just search up how to make money online just to see what you find? I don't, but I'm sure a lot of people do. I think I've definitely searched up like best passive incomes, but I've never done like how to make money online. Thank you for answering my questions tonight, Brian. You and your channel are amazing research for ambitious students. I'm glad. I hope I'm not giving false impressions or making people miserable by talking too much about things that they wish to accomplish, but they're currently not accomplishing. I know that YouTube and social media gives a lot of that impression of I want to achieve this. These people achieved it. Why can't I achieve it? I think that's very toxic, and I hope I'm not doing that. And I'm serving more as a resource than a platform for toxicness. I agree. Please reconsider IB. I'm interning. All these people saying, please reconsider IB if you're a high schooler. What age do you hope to retire? I'm 23, so 23. Thoughts on working at a credit rating agency? I don't know why you would ever want to work at a credit rating agency. That just sounds miserable. What's the latest you've ever stayed at the office? 4:30 a.m. Heejin Park, small world. I'm interning in SF2. Wow. Saying that you work in IB doesn't work as a pickup line. I saw my friend miserably. Yeah, I don't know why you would use that as a pickup line. If anything, I think that just says, I will not have time for you. What was the biggest challenge in your career? I think just in the beginning, adjusting from a college phase to a career, it's just so different. Going to school for 16 years and then going to a job is the biggest jump I think you'll make in life. Have you ever slept or saw people sleep in the office back in IB? I've never. I might have like dozed off just because I was tired, but I've never like slept. I'm in my late 20s. Just got it out of the military. I finished my BS in finance. Do you think? Yes, MBA would definitely help. Amir says, do bulge bracket firms come for networking days or super days at Washington Lee? Yes, they do. John Fan, do you go to Cal? Add John Fan. Do you go to Cal, John? After about 10 years, do you make a really good amount of money, especially if you're on the buy side? Is it worth 10 years of hell? That's a good question to ask. I don't know. I've never done it. I would assume people do it because they think it's worth it, or people get out when they realize it's not worth it. One place you would love to travel to? I want to go back to Japan. I went with my grandparents. It was a great week, but I also want to go back with my friends to see what it's like. And I want to enjoy food a lot more and enjoy the night scene a little bit. Brian, fun fact, I once encountered a former colleague from undergrad in your comment section here on a live stream. That's so funny. I think some people will meet people they know on here. But I mean, that's not surprising given that people probably share similar interests. And it takes a lot for you to be on a live stream with a guy who talks about careers. How do you manage to sleep 4 hours and get up the next day? You don't manage, you just do it. And it sucks and you wake up with anxiety. Love your videos from New Zealand. Oh, thank you, mate. Is that the correct terminology? I would love to go to New Zealand too. I've heard great things. I have two friends who studied in the Australia-New Zealand region for a semester, and they absolutely loved it. Granted, they were more like nature-y guys. I'm not a very nature-y guy, but my boys Chris and Matt loved their experience there. Where do you want to go for your next vacation? Actually, I don't know where I want to go, but for my next vacation in 2 weeks, I'm going to Yellowstone with my family. John Fan, yes, I do. Well, I guess all these Cal people are here. Love that you explained it like that, bro. Mate, yes, mate. How good is your Korean? Amen, GS. I am fluent. I am surprisingly fluent in Korean. I have a Korean channel that I speak solely in Korean if you want to go check out or test/verify my fluency. People are often surprised at my Korean levels, my Korean skills. Have you ever analyzed any Brazilian company? I have not. Big fan from Brazil. Oh, obrigado. Muito bem. There's so many people from Brazil. I don't know people from Brazil watch my. I'm always shocked that international people watch my stuff solely because I think I talk a lot about U.S. centered things, and I feel like investment banking is majority U.S. thing. I'm a pretty American person, I think, and most of my experiences are Americanized. But especially during like my career consulting sessions, a lot of my clients are Australian or either from Europe. A lot of UK people, a lot of internationals. Vamos Brazil. I've been to Brazil. But yeah, 40-minute mark. Let me do quick self-promotion. I know I usually never self-promote, but I do on these live streams just because I would want to. But I released every Saturday. I release a new video on this platform. If you guys are new, I'm not going to say like and subscribe, but I release a new video every Saturday. My thoughts on career, life, banking, just everything as a whole on Brian Jun. I have a Korean channel if you guys understand Korean, or if you want to hear me speak Korean, or want to get a more personal view of my life, just because I do far more personal things on that channel. Go subscribe. That channel is linked on my main channel. I offer career consulting one-on-one. You could sign up using the Google form, also linked. And then I also blog every Monday through Thursday at brianjun.com if you want to get a bigger insight into my thoughts. So many comments that I'm missing out on. Hey, I'm trying to get into MMA. What courses would you recommend me take my junior or senior year? I don't think the courses you take matter for M&A, Dylan. Did your friendship relations suffer while you were in IB? If anything, I think they almost got better because I depended so much on friendships and relationships. I did get out of a relationship in the beginning of my investment banking career, but it had nothing to do with the investment banking. What are your thoughts on middle back job office at a bulge bracket? Are there good exit opportunities? I don't know what middle and back office jobs are. In a career in finance, do you help people make positive change in the world? You can make that argument. I think in at least what I can speak for, middle market M&A, you are providing capital for what I would argue the American dream, and people that have built businesses from the ground up, and enabling that business to scale, and then in turn allowing for more people to be hired. But that's a lot of slippery slope argument. And a career in finance, what do you think of IB in other countries? I don't know anything much about IB in other countries. I've collaborated with some international folks while I was in investment banking. I've heard a lot about investment banking through my career consulting, but it seems like they're a little different, slightly less intense. I think the U.S. is definitely the core of investment banking. What's the Korean channel name? I will type it in the chat right now. If you want to copy and paste and Google that, but that's my Korean channel. Your videos are universal. Yeah, clearly. Would you still choose IB as a first job for someone who is starting the career? I would. Yes. Okay, with that being said, what jobs would you recommend me go for after graduation in private equity or specializing in M&A? I think having banking experience before private equity is valuable, just because so many people in private equity have M&A banking experience, and it's really hard to get into private equity right after college. Are people who've only worked in large companies missing out on startup culture? Not necessarily. I think there's definitely perks and benefits to being at a big company, and there's stability and like you being pretty sure in what you do. But there is the intensity associated with startups that I think is very fun to be part of, especially when you're young. Are people who've only worked in large? Keep exposing these corny LinkedIn profiles and posts. Yeah, guys, if you have any corny LinkedIn posts or profiles, please DM them to me at Brian_John on Instagram. That's going to be a regular series. I think it's probably the most fun I've ever had. I'm a big fan of LinkedIn as a platform. I think it's important to showcase your work and enable recruiters to find you, and have it serve as a professional platform. But I'm sorry, but some people just really need to calm down. The corniness needs to stop. The cringiness needs to stop. How long into your IB career did you get or feel jaded? Jaded is probably an overstatement, but I think I felt pretty stressed probably right away. Would love to hear you speak Korean. Really cannot imagine how it sounds. Yeah, go check out the channel. Eamon, I have a lot of videos that I speak Korean in. I sound somewhat different, I think. My voice is a little higher, but people give me feedback that I don't really have an accent, I think. Can you look into Han Equity and let me know what you think of the firm? Dylan, Gene, I'm not trying to be mean, but I don't want to look into it. I'm kind of lazy. I remember sending you a LinkedIn post the other day. Oh, were you the one that sent me? Yeah, I'm definitely going to put that in my next, or my 2 videos from now. Who are your favorite bloggers? I don't follow any blogs. Which others do you look up to? Author-wise, I really like Malcolm Gladwell and Michael Lewis. Love your videos, Brian. Oh, thank you. Are there any positions other than IB that you would recommend for working abroad utilizing IB skills and Japanese? By IB skills, if you mean finance, probably private equity or buy side. I don't know how big buy side or private capital is in Japan, but yeah. At the IB you work for, were you able to select or just be assigned a certain area of MMA? So we did a 6-month generalist program, and then we basically prepped, much like a rush process in a fraternity. And then we got placed into a group that we were interested in. The first LinkedIn cyberbully. I don't mean to be a cyberbully. One, I'm going to anonymize everyone that does it. I think if anything, I just want to expose the reality and really delve into why people are posting these things, and put a stop to these postings, because I really don't think it accomplishes anything. I genuinely believe cringe LinkedIn posts accomplishes nothing. You're 100% fine. What's your 5-year plan? Will you stay in IB? I'm not in IB, Andrew. I've exited IB. What made you decide to start this channel? A lot of people told me that I had a banking personality. People told me that I was decently good at talking. I had no hobby. I was very stressed from banking. I needed an outlet. I always enjoyed making videos when I was young. All those things accumulating together, and then just timing. Have you read any of the Market Wizard books? I have not. What's your current job now that you leave IB? I work for a startup. Are you focusing on entrepreneurship YouTube, or did you get another formal job? I have a formal job. What is your opinion about Damodaran and his methods? I don't know who Damodaran is. Igor, sorry. I think half this stream has been me just admitting that I know nothing. I think people have a false impression that I know all these things, but I really, really don't know anything, guys. Thoughts on quants? It's the highest level of finance, in my opinion, if you are up for it / smart enough for it, and you make so much damn money. It's just that the reality is most people are not that smart, and not that quantitatively advanced. But if you can do it, why not? I think it's a hell of a job. Teacher from NYU, Godfather valuation. I think I'm just not interested enough in valuation to know who that is. Did you take a big pay cut when you left IB? I did not, surprisingly. How do you mentally handle the IB hours? You just keep pushing at it, and I think it builds after a while. You build tolerance to it. What is the full name for quants? Like quantitative analyst, maybe? I actually don't know. That's a good question. The full name for quants. T-hair swag. Are you talking about my hair? Does it look like a T-shaped or something? How hard is it? Or do you know any resources that are good to learn more about basic finance? Not like specifically, but I think mergers and inquisitions has a lot. I would argue Wall Street Oasis probably has a lot of posts about good resources. There's a lot of like YouTube channels that cover it. How hard is it to exit into a strategy and finance role in tech? I don't think it's that hard if you look for it. I think a lot of those roles are high in demand from an employer's perspective, because everyone wants to go into tech, but I don't think it's that hard. Do you have any advice about picking and choosing careers when you go into and leaving uni? Yeah, starting from when you go in, learn as much as you can about different jobs that are available, and then actively network to find out what they actually do, and then align what you're interested in with those things. How is your work-life balance now that you're at a startup? It's very good. Anything is good compared to IB. Tier Swag has answered the question for me. Quantitative analyst, trader, research developer. They're all kind of different job-wise, but on the same spectrum. I agree. I think my friends in those various fields all say that they have similar experiences. And it's definitely, I think, if you can do it, it's probably the coolest part of finance. It's just that I'm not smart enough for it. And frankly, not many people are. But I think the people that I know of that are in that field are loving it, raking in cash. Have you done a video about how to network? I have. Maybe I'll remake it, but I've done a video that's literally about the art of networking. Thanks for the insight and tips. See you in the next one. Yeah, see you in the next one, Nighthawk Black. How important are the opinions of people around you? Wow, that just hit me deep. Joseph asked, how important are the opinions of people around you? I think people try to say that you should, satisfy oneself and not care too much about what people say. But it's very hard as a human being to not care about what people think about you. You could make the argument that your entire identity is technically composed of what people think of you. And you strive to meet those goals and perspectives, and that ever becomes yourself, which is a weird thing to think about. As someone that is very passionate about people and as an extrovert, I think I'd be lying if I said I didn't care about people's opinions about me. I am, however, I think a relatively self-driven person. But that self-drive probably comes from an external motivation, so it's hard to say. Do you still do one-on-ones? I do, yeah. And if you're interested in a one-on-one, sign up using the link below. When I first started watching your videos, I wanted to get into typing, but now I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know. I still think it's the best career start if you're going to business or if you're in finance. I've heard a lot of people in the finance world used to golf to network. Do you think this to be true? I don't think I got high level enough in banking to have that be true, but I would assume just in business world in general, golf is a good skill to have. Appreciate it, man. Keep up the content. New video every Saturday, whether you like it or not. 반가워요, Brian 씨. 영상 잘 보고 있습니다. 항상 응원합니다. Thank you so much, Rayleigh. I don't know who you are, but Team Korea. Are you thinking about going to graduate school? Probably not. I'm not the most academic person, unless I make a severe career switch. But not at the moment. Is attention to detail less important in startups compared to your previous job? Far less important. It's more about getting the minimal viable product. There is no like you missed a comma angry comments, which thinking back, that is probably the most ridiculous part of that job. Which one is better? Specialize in one thing or explore many things? I think more and more becoming a jack of all trades is becoming more important than becoming specialized in one thing. Is it better to be specialized in everything? Of course. But I think becoming a jack of all trades is becoming more and more valuable, as I think specialization is for a very select few or outsourced. What do you like about Japan? Would love to show you around once I quit IB. And which city do you want to end up in career-wise? So I was in Hokkaido. I went to Sapporo. I just loved how vast it was, the quality of the food. The beer was great. The hot springs was awesome. I would love to be shown around and enjoy more of a nightlife. What city do I want to end up? I'm actually going back to my ideal city, which is Southern California, which is not a city, but area / demographic. But as I mentioned before, I'd love to work abroad, perhaps in Asia before I die. And I would like to do that when I'm young. So probably in the near future. How did you improve your attention to detail? Just being called out for it so many times, it starts hurting, and you're like, you know what? I should make it more of a priority. Not sure if you ever felt this, but have you ever dealt with a project that is against your morals, but you're required to do it before you leave your job? I've actually never faced that moral dilemma. That's a good question though. Favorite book? Right now, I'm reading Shadows of Forgotten Ancestors, which is a book about just life and human beings at a scientific level. I wouldn't say that's my favorite book, but it's what I'm reading right now. Have you ever worked with actuaries and investment banks? I have not. How big was the drug culture in IB? We had a drug test, so not big in the sense that I don't think people were doing drugs. Timothy Park. Wow, Brian, I'm your biggest fan. How are you so handsome? Oh, wow. Thanks, Timothy Park. I really appreciate big fans like that. How am I so handsome? I guess just I thank my parents for my great genes that are very hard to come by. I love myself, as I think all people should. And anyone that is big ego enough to start a YouTube channel and talk about their opinions and think that they're important enough to have a live stream on Wednesdays probably think that they're pretty good. I am very appreciative of my own looks. Thanks, Timothy Park. Biggest fan. Is a small-scale corp development internship considered relevant experience for securing an IB internship? I would say so, especially if you've been after freshman or sophomore year. I think corp dev is the other side of investment banking, and a lot of times people go from buy side to sell side, especially because it's weirdly easier to get a buy side experience first when you're younger, and then to get a sell side experience. But I think corp dev is good. Thoughts on equity research? That's one thing that I really don't know much about, and I probably should look into. And I'm sure it would be one of those videos that will do very well if I said, like, should I go into equity research, and then just did a brief overview of it. I will get better at that. And it's definitely on my to-do list. How do you deal with expectation not being reality? That's a great question. I think IB did prepare me for that, Joey. Much of life is expectations not being reality. And I'm really bad at dealing with that. I hate that. But I also don't like the reverse, where when reality meets expectations so much, when I foresee something that's about to occur and then it happens, that also pisses me off. You're also looking in better shape since I first started watching. Congrats. Yeah, since you first started watching, I'm probably down 30 pounds, John. What year should I apply for internship? How do I apply? Depends on what internship you're talking about. Like, do you apply on company websites or through the school? Through the school if available, but if you're not a non-target, you probably need to do it through the website. Have you ever thought about being a VP back in IB? Yeah, I've definitely considered going back to investment banking. It's never off the table. But right now, I think I'm pretty comfortable with my job. Does interning at a credit union help? I don't know what that entails, but as I've mentioned before, I don't know why anyone would want to do work at a credit union. That just sounds not very fun. Guys, as typically, my voice is going away, but I still have 3 minutes left on the clock. As I am signing off, I'm going to do one last promotion. For those of you joining for the first time, I do these every Wednesday. If you're interested in what I have to talk about, what I have thoughts about, career-wise, life-wise. I release a new video every Saturday. I have a Korean channel that I speak in Korean and talk about more personal things. And I have a blog, brianjun.com, where I really go deep and talk about whatever I want, unfiltered. And I think if you guys go on that website and read my thoughts on life, perhaps some of you might not like me as much. Do you just go to the gym, or what kind of workouts do you do? Yeah, I go to the gym every weekday. How many hours do the people above the analysts work in IB? I'd say almost similar hours. Some associates work more than analysts, I think, and VPs work a lot too. MDs work a lot. Just curious, what makes you choose IB as your first job? It was just the most logical thing to do out of my school, and it was relatively easy to do out of my school. Thanks, man. You're inspiring. Just subscribe. I don't think I'm inspiring, Joey. I appreciate that. I think I like doing this. This is like my only hobby and the only thing that I look forward to during the weekdays, to be honest. Any idea on culture at DB? Deutsche Bank, I've heard mixed things. Obviously, they had a pretty big downturn last year. All my friends at Deutsche has left, if that means anything for you. This is my first time being able to watch it live. The stream was great. Thank you. Oh, thank you for watching, Ashley. Should finance MBAs pursue a career in startups? And if so, what types of jobs might they pursue? You can go into banking, you can go into private equity, you can go to hedge fund, you can go into anything you want. MBA finances or finance MBAs are what every job person desires. Thanks for spending your time on this channel. You give great advice. I really hope so. I feel like much of my advice is not really thought through. I just say whatever's on my mind, but I'm glad that people enjoy what I have to give. One last self-promotion is if you guys are interested in a one-on-one session where I spend more time with just you and your specific instances of concerns and questions, make sure to sign up below. Thoughts on UBS? UBS is good. I've heard UBS is a great bank. It's a bulge bracket, right? Thoughts on Japanese firms such as Nomura and Mizuho? They're both pretty big names. I've heard good things. Big fan of Japan. Thanks for your time, Brian. Give the good work, man. Thank you, Ricky, for joining. I have a minute left, guys. If you guys have any last-minute questions, I'm happy to answer. I realize I strayed away from the topic that I said again, which is thinking about what makes a job important. But as always, we've derived into this banking hole, but must attend to what is necessary. Do you still play golf? I do, but I haven't played in a while just because I'm in Chicago. But I'm returning to California in 2 weeks. I'm probably going to play every week because I need to get back at it. Brian, see you the next one. Yes, I'll see you next time, John. Everybody, I have 20 seconds left, so I will probably sign off. But as always, thanks for joining. I'm always marveling and surprising when people are back. Let's grab a drink when you're in SoCal. Yeah, hit me up. But as always, thanks for joining. I will see you guys next time, whether that be on a stream, on a video, on a blog post. Have Have a great rest of your week.